Okay guys, I just met someone else, look. Nagelrod. I think that's how you say his name. He just said hi, see my videos. Cheers for that. I'm going to do a quick video about griefing and such like. I saw some people were saying about griefing and how they would like some more kind of ideas of how to combat people who grief. I'm not going to know everything about it, but I'm going to basically do this part one video that goes over pretty much everything I can remember about griefing, all of my experience with griefing. And then if you're a more experienced player and if you have other ideas about things that I have missed, you can basically leave those ideas in the comments, and then my idea is I'll probably have to make another video at a later date which will go over those things. But this is the part one. This is pretty much the essential things that a noob is going to have to watch out for in this game. Okay, so basically one of the first things as a noob you have to watch out for is that quite often people will try to do things to trick you into going grey. Right now I'm blue, but when you're in a guarded zone, if you go grey, so if you do anything like attack someone or steal their stuff, you will go grey, and then people can guard you. So it's very, very dangerous in a guarded zone. So some examples that I have had experience of is people will try and leave loot bags on the floor. So that they will leave a loot bag on the floor, hoping that you're a noob and you will try and pick up the stuff in the loot bag. And then of course if you do that, you will go grey and they will guard you. They will call the guards and they will basically then steal all your stuff. If you don't know how to do this, if you ever see anyone in the town and if the bar under their name is grey, that means that they're grey and you can guard them. So you can basically target them and you can type guards into the text chat, and then a guard will instantly appear and kill them. So yeah, that's one way that people like to grief. They like to try to get a noob to open up a loot bag, and they'll be hiding, and as soon as they see you do that, they will basically set the guards on you. Another thing is that people will basically try and tame a pet to try to fool you into thinking it's a regular animal. For example, outside here in Meduli there's lots of pigs. So someone might be a tamer and they might tame a pig, and then they usually try to call it like pig so it looks like a normal pig. Then they will try to leave it either on the outskirts of the guarded area or right in the middle of the guarded area, usually somewhere where there's a lot of people, like a high traffic area, hoping that a noob will think this is a regular pig that has walked into the city and that they can actually kill it. And as soon as they strike this pig, because it isn't a normal pig, it's someone's pet, then they will go grey and get instantly guarded and they will die, and all their stuff will probably be looted. So that's another thing, which, I mean, I would say there are two major things that I saw when I was a noob. I haven't seen so much of this stuff happening like recently, but when I was a noob, they were two major things that I saw a lot. Yeah. Okay, of course, when you're in these kind of high traffic areas, it just went like very dark. Like this storage area in Meduli, like any of these areas that are very, very busy, you're gonna basically in these areas you'll be a prime target for griefing. You have to watch out for thieves. A thief even will basically try to sneak up behind you when you don't realize it, and then they will target you and steal stuff from you. Now, for you to understand how this works, a thief has to like target you and then snoop in your pockets, but I think they have to wait something like 30 seconds from when they can see your stuff to when they can actually start stealing stuff. So, first of all, for you, there should be a message that comes up saying someone is trying to snoop in your pockets. Of course, if you ever see that, you need to start moving around as soon as you can, because that will then stop the process, because a thief is not able to steal anything when you are moving around. So the number one thing you can do to try to stop a thief is just to move around as much as you can and don't stay in one place for a very long time. Of course, like prime areas for this to be done is in like a big storage area, or when there's people who are looking at NPCs and not really paying attention. That's when a thief will try to come up behind you. Sometimes they try and like hide in a bush. It's kind of hilarious. Just before I started making this video, there was a thief hiding right behind me behind a bush, like trying to target me. So yeah, it can happen to anyone. You have to be really careful. However, when a thief is stealing things, you need to understand that usually they can't steal things that are very heavy. I think even very experienced thieves would struggle to be able to steal stuff that's very heavy. Therefore, what you can do is, rather than having only 10 gold, which is relatively light, you can have the equivalent in silver, which is obviously quite a lot heavier and will be a lot harder for them to steal. A thief usually looks like a character who is in rags or who is naked. They usually have like the pointy-eared looking kind of characters, like this one a bit. Yeah, kind of like this guy here. They usually look like this, and then quite often they will try to be very, very dark, so that at night time they can blend into things and there's a less likelihood of you seeing them. So yeah, that's what you need to watch out for when it comes to thieves and things like that. It helps if your character's got high intelligence. If your character has a high intelligence, so you press P, you go to intelligence, but for example, my tamer character has very high intelligence, but my fighter that I'm in now has incredibly low intelligence. But if you do have a character with high intelligence, this helps to combat thievery in the game. Now, another thing that happens a lot in these kind of high traffic areas is people will try to annoy you, try and push you and do stuff to try to get you to accidentally strike them. This again is something which is basically targeted especially at new players who maybe don't understand how the game works so well. Yeah. So what they'll do is you can actually draw your sword or your fists, and then when you've done that, you can right click, and after you've right clicked, you can then left click, and it will turn into a push. Right now, people will basically do that to people quite a lot to annoy them, first of all. So if there's a guy standing right here by the vendor, I can actually push them away from the vendor, and it's really annoying if you're at a vendor, and that can be a way that people can just grief you by trying to annoy you. But also they do that to noobs, because maybe a noob will think that you're fighting and then will actually strike you, or they'll try to do the whole block push and they will accidentally strike the person, and then that person then they will go grey, and the person who's been griefing them will basically guard them and either take all their stuff or just laugh at them a lot. So that's one thing you need to be very careful with. Yeah, it happens quite a lot, and it's annoying. You get these guys just kind of annoying you, like running up to you, jumping around you, trying to push you and trying to get you to accidentally strike them. So yeah, try not to be one of those guys. Okay, not much more to talk about, but if you have a horse, you need to make sure you are sat on your horse when you exit the game, when you log out of the game. If not, if you don't do this, your horse will go grey and it will be a target for anyone who can basically guard your horse. And 9 out of 10 times when you accidentally leave your horse after logging out and it's not in a stable, or you're not sat on your horse, you find that it will get killed 9 out of 10 times, I would say, pretty much. So yeah, that's something you should really watch out for, like as much as you can. But also, people will try and find ways to kill your horse. So they will try to, for example, run into your horse. I have never tried this myself, but I've heard that it is possible for you to run into a horse, and then that will make the horse like attack you, and then the horse will go grey, and you can basically have the horse guarded. Like I said, I have never actually tried this, but I've heard that can happen. Also, people will try to maybe strike your horse with a bow. Now, if your horse is on the normal kind of setting that it is on default, when someone strikes it with an arrow, they will usually try to do this from somewhere outside of the guarded zone, and then that horse will be aggroed, will run towards them, and then they will have the horse out of the guarded area and will basically kill them. This is more likely to happen in a smaller town. So this used to happen to me, for example, this happened to me once when I lived in Bhakti. Yeah, but you need to be kind of careful in those kind of smaller towns, because I'm pretty sure that's more likely to happen in those kind of towns, you know. Wow, it's like super dark right now. Yeah, one way you can try to combat this is you can try to set your horse to passive. So by doing that, you just need to click on the horse thing up here, and then you have three things here. You just need to click on the one that is passive, and your horse will be passive, and it won't actually attack anyone when they do those kind of things. It's just annoying that you have to do this every time you enter a town. I think if you just say stay here, I'm not sure if that will stop it from being aggro, but certainly if you leave it on passive, it won't be aggroed, it will just be passive. So yeah, that's the thing with horses. I can't really think of anything else to do with horses. Just people will, I'm sure there's other random ways that people can get horses killed. People seem to love killing horses. If you're, I've even heard of people that get followed, and then when they dismount their horse and go to do something like mining or whatever, as soon as they are busy, someone will kill their horse, for fun. So you kind of need to keep an eye out if you have a horse. Yeah. Okay, so I thought I'd also just quickly explain the whole thing with red players. Now, red players are players that have got a murder count which is over a certain amount. I can't remember what it is. I think it might be 5. So basically they're player murderers, and these players, sometimes they can be a red player just because they're in a guild that's in lots of wars. They have to kill lots of opposing players in opposing guilds, so that will turn them red. But you do get quite a lot of players in the game which are red because their aim is to walk around, ride around, go around in the world and find vulnerable players that they can basically kill or gank. You could say gank. It's not always to steal their stuff. Sometimes it is just to annoy them. But yeah, if you ever see a red player, especially if you're on your own or you're a new character, or for whatever reason you're not able to defend yourself, and you see a red player and you're outside of a guarded zone, just try to run or hide, because 9 out of 10 times they will try to kill you, and quite a lot of them are usually quite good. Yeah. So just to bear that in mind. Okay guys, like I said, this is a quick part 1 video, and I would imagine there'll be other parts when I realise about things that I have missed out from this video. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.